Welcome to RuralStrong, where we talk real challenges and bold solutions in rural economic development. I'm your host, Joe Barker. Let's get into it. This is your podcast host, Joe Barker, and we're broadcasting today from the Southwest Tennessee Development District podcast studio in beautiful downtown Jackson, Tennessee. And we've got a really special guest today. You know, Tennessee is known for a lot of things, but I think one thing really positive we're known for is our higher education system. And today we have Dr. Flora Tydings, who serves as the Chancellor of the Tennessee Board of Regents, overseeing the college system of Tennessee, appointed in December of 2016 and taking office in February 2017. She is the first woman to hold this position and the first woman in Tennessee history to lead a state higher education system. Chancellor Tydings, welcome to RuralStrong.
Well, thank you so much, Joe, and it is such a pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, we've got a lot of things we want to talk about, but I think let's start off with your background. I know you started off in the great state of Georgia in K through 12, so tell us where you started and bring us up to your position today.
Well, thank you. And I did have a little bit of an eclectic background. I did start by teaching high school history. And about 7 years I taught, and then when my children were born, I decided I wanted to look at doing something a little bit different, and I opened up a retail gift shop selling china, crystal, flatware, and corporate gifts.
Bless your heart. That's quite an endeavor.
Well, it was a wonderful opportunity and something that I enjoyed greatly. It gave me the opportunity to be the room mother with my children at school and then still have my entrepreneurial activities going on. Again, we did a lot of corporate gift giving during that time, which led me to understand and work with a lot of different businesses within our area, which was very exciting to me. And after about 8 years of doing that, somebody walked in the store and offered to buy it, and I said sold. So that was another good opportunity. But then I did have to say, what will I do next? I've just always enjoyed working and being with people in different areas, and there were 4 school systems in the Middle Georgia area at that time that were looking for an apprenticeship coordinator, somebody to work with business and industry and also understood the educational system. So that led me to doing that for 4 counties in the state. And during the course of that, I began to understand more as to what was happening at our community and technical colleges in the state. It was not the path I had taken. I'd gone to the universities, and so I didn't really understand a lot about what they did. But once I did, I was hooked. The mission of the community and technical colleges and having that direct involvement with students and with businesses and being able to tie together what those opportunities produced for students really excited me. So I, again, was fortunate enough to be offered a job at one of the community colleges in the Middle Georgia area as a director of curriculum to begin with, and then was fortunate to become a vice president of academic affairs in the Middle Georgia region. I did that for about 5 years, and then an opportunity to become president of a technical college in Athens, Georgia, arose, and I was successful in being their top candidate for that job, to which was an amazing opportunity. I stayed in that role for 13 years in Athens, Georgia. Love Athens, Georgia, being a Georgia Bulldog. That was, quite a gift to be able to live in that community. But I was drawn to Tennessee first to be the president of Chattanooga State. Someone asked me to look at that opportunity because at the time that it became available, they needed somebody that could sort of help calm the waters that were going on over there, and it just looked like a really good opportunity. So I actually retired from the Georgia system, moved to Chattanooga expecting to be able to retire there as the president of Chattanooga State, and after about a year and a half, someone asked and encouraged me to please look at the chancellor's position. again, never envisioned myself as the chancellor of a system. I thought being the president of that college was just an amazing gift. But when I was selected to be chancellor of the system, words can't describe what an incredible opportunity this has been. I truly love what we do as a system. I love the fact that we can have an impact all across the state of Tennessee, that we've been able to mold and sort of reshape higher education to be a partner in that workforce space with all business and industry across the state. And that's the future of education. As long as we're engaged with business and industry, we know we're going to stay on the path they need us to stay on. So that kind of wraps it up. A lot of different routes, but got me to a job that I just feel very blessed and honored to be a part of.
You know, Chancellor, most folks are familiar, at least, with the University of Tennessee system we have here. But explain to those that may not be as familiar with the Tennessee Board of Regents system exactly what that is and the difference between that and the University of Tennessee system.
Absolutely. The TBR, the Tennessee Board of Regents, we have 37 colleges within our system, 13 community colleges and 24 technical colleges of applied technology. We have 175 teaching locations across the state. We are in all 95 counties with a presence of some sort in every county. We serve roughly 180,000 students a year. And then this past year, we were so fortunate that we worked with 42,000 dual enrollment students at the high school level, actually going into the high schools, teaching those students college level courses. And we had over 850 graduates of dual enrollment this last year. That meaning that they got their high school diploma and their college certifications before they actually graduated from high school. So again, another great opportunity for Tennesseans to get a leg up on employment opportunities or in a transfer pathway if they plan to go to one of our great universities in the state.
We have a lot of folks that listen to our podcast that live in rural areas, not only in Tennessee, but across the country. And I've just always been, Chancellor, so proud of our colleges of applied technology. And as you say, we've got a presence some way in all 95 counties and our community colleges. How important, in your view, to educating the workforce in our rural areas are these TCATs and community colleges?
In my opinion, they are absolutely critical. What we do every day is to help students be successful. The students are our customer, and our goal is to help them have a better life, whatever that needs to look like within the community. We work with adult learners. We work with employers to try to, again, make sure that our students are graduating with a degree that they can go to work immediately. We want to make sure that we're training them for the skill sets that those employers need. And we don't want to just be training for what's happening right now. It's our mission to make sure that we're looking and forecasting out into the future. What does employment look like in 5 years? What does it look like in 6 years across the state? We work very closely with the Department of Economic Development, Department of Labor, and the Governor's Office to make sure that we're at the table when a new company is coming to look at the state of Tennessee. We can help those companies understand the value we bring to the table. What do they need? We're going to make sure that they have it. We're going to provide those programs of study. If we have a new company coming to West Tennessee and we're not currently teaching those programs, we will be before that company gets up and running. We've got to make sure that we're providing that pipeline to industry. And for our rural counties, you heard me say 175 teaching locations. We need to make sure we have that available for people to be able to go immediately into a training opportunity. They're not going to drive 2 or 3 hours to get to a training program. We need to provide the training where they live and make sure that, again, we are meeting the demand within that area.
One thing I think it's real impressive about TBR is the fact that they're have been times we've had a large manufacturer located in the state of Tennessee, and actually there has been a co-locating of a TCAT pretty much on that campus. Number one, certainly to train their employees, but it also is open to other students. But I've thought, how unique that is that we invest in the education side of it and the workforce side of it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we have been so blessed in Tennessee to have leadership at the very top. Our past three governors have supported technical and community education at a very high level. And to brag on Governor Lee and our legislators, they've invested over $1.5 billion in infrastructure in our system over the last 2 years. Part of that was building the new TCAT Stanton next to the Blue Oval City site so that we can provide the training that the companies locating within that area are going to need and demand. Again, that's an attractive piece to companies when they're looking at the state of Tennessee, knowing that we have legislators and governors that care about their workforce being trained, that put a high emphasis on everybody being able to get the credentials that they need. And that partnership with the universities, again, is so important because they're going to need engineers, they're going to need 4-year and graduate degree individuals. But for every one of those, there's probably about 10 people from our end that they're going to need to supply the workforce. So we want to make sure that our students have pathways, that if they go into the workforce immediately, then there's a pathway for them to go and get a graduate degree if they so choose to advance in the company that they might be working for.
And I'd love to get your take on this. I never go to a meeting or a conference now, Chancellor, that there's not several sessions on artificial intelligence and how it is affecting our workforce. And as I was thinking about our conversation today, this was one thing I wanted to ask you as directing a system as you do that is so focused on the workforce, how is that AI piece of it, has it changed your focus or the system's focus in any way?
Yes, it definitely has, and I think for the better. I mean, we're pretty excited about what we're being able to do with some of these things. People, I heard in the beginning, people were so worried about AI taking jobs away from individuals. It will not take the jobs away from people that know how to use the tool, and that's what it is, a tool that people need to understand and be able to ask the right questions. We have been focused on this for several years now. And I know, people start thinking, well, AI just came on the scene. And I'm thinking, no, you've been talking to your Alexa and your Google apps for a long time. It's just taken it to the next level over the last several years. It's been improved. It's being more helpful to all of us. One of the 4 areas that TBR will be primarily focused on for curriculum and training over this next year is AI, nuclear, the ceramic tile industry, and aviation mechanics is the other 3 that we'll be focused on. Those are 4 areas in the state of Tennessee that we're seeing rapid growth, and we want to, again, make sure that we're staying on the front end of that curve, that we're helping people be well prepared for what's happening. Ceramic tile industry, there are so many people that don't understand Tennessee is the leading state in the production of ceramic tile. We've worked closely with Italy and some of the Italian tile makers to make sure that what's happening here is helping provide that workforce and the training that we're doing. As a matter of fact, we sent a large contingency to Italy this summer to do training with the Italians in their plants to understand the production. It's all across the state of Tennessee because we have that ball clay that is so necessary for this production, and it is mined all across the state. So again, an area that a lot of people don't realize Tennessee is a leader in. Of course, nuclear, you've heard that talked about a lot. AI and nuclear I talk about a lot in tandem because those two do intersect quite often. But nuclear is another option. While everyone knows Oak Ridge is a huge leader in that, we have nuclear pieces all across the state of Tennessee. In West Tennessee, there are a lot of logistics areas that we're talking about with the nuclear piece. So we're making sure that our colleges are prepared. In addition to everything we do every day, those 4 industries will be explicitly honed in on for our system.
Let's talk a little bit about, accessibility, of the student entering one of the TBR schools, because I know Tennessee has made a real effort at the adult population with the Tennessee Reconnect program and other programs out there. So tell our listeners a little bit about what the state of Tennessee has done to make sure that really anybody that wants to go on to higher education, there's a path.
Absolutely. And again, we are so blessed in the state of Tennessee that I say all the time, if somebody wants to go to college, they can go to college in the state of Tennessee. Financial barrier should not exist in anyone's mind, because we have Tennessee Promise, we have Tennessee Reconnect, we have the Wilder-Navy grants that can go to students. So there is a pathway for everybody financially to get those first 2 years within the state. If you'll recall, Tennessee Promise is for any student right out of graduation. It's available for a 2-year associate's degree or a technical college degree diploma. Wilder-Navy is just at our technical colleges. Again, both of these avenues pay all of their tuition. There is usually some fees the students have to pay, but we work very closely with a lot of foundations across the state. If there is a student that doesn't have the money to pay some of the fees for their tools or their equipment, we're going to try to help them find a way to work with one of these private organizations to help do that. And then with Reconnect, as you mentioned, that is where any adult student over the age of 23 in the state that doesn't currently have a degree can come back and take any of our courses for free. So the options for students in Tennessee are boundless. One of the best states in the nation for grants and opportunities to be paid for students.
On the Tennessee Reconnect program, are a lot of adults taking advantage of that program? Do you see that program growing?
Well, that's been a topic of discussion because, no, over the last year, it didn't really grow. It's one of the areas where we feel like when it first came out back in 2018, there was a lot of talk about it. People knew about it. We contacted everybody that we could find that we knew had some college degree but didn't finish. And so we were able to get a big push going at that point in time. With our higher ed partners, we've had discussions that, we really need to do a big push to help the adults understand that this is available for them. They don't really understand the nuance of it. And our colleges are open to everyone. We are open admissions. You don't have to come in and take a test to be admitted. As long as we have a spot available, it's open. If we don't have a spot available at that moment in that particular program, we'll put you on the wait list. And as soon as we rotate someone through, you'll get to join the program. Many of our programs do have wait lists because they are so popular. But we're going to work with you to get you in just as quickly as we can.
Yesterday, I had the privilege of attending the President's Luncheon of Jackson State Community College, where we're located in Jackson, Tennessee. We have a great community college here. Dr. Rothstein does a fabulous job. But one thing she was talking about yesterday that, I'm really interested in how this is growing across the state is dual enrollment, and how our high school students can actually get an associate's degree while they're going to high school. So talk about the dual enrollment program in our state, Chancellor.
Well, absolutely. And again, we have seen a 300% growth in dual enrollment across the state. As I mentioned earlier, we had over 850 students across the state that did get that high school diploma and their college degree at the same time. So they're walking out of high school ready to either go directly to work or go on to a university with 2 years already under their belt. We're really excited about the opportunities. We work closely with our K-12 partners to make this happen. Each school district is a little bit different across the state, so each one of our colleges works directly with that school district to develop an MOU as to what that's going to look like. The needs are a little bit different, so that one high school may have our teachers come and teach in their high school if they have the space available. If not, the students may be transported to one of our sites if the opportunity allows for that. Sometimes the distance doesn't, and we need to be closer to the student. But we've had great success in working with our K-12 partners in putting these programs together. Again, everybody believes it's important, and that's what makes it happen.
That's an exciting program, and I see that program just expanding and growing. And talk a little bit, Chancellor, about if you go to community college in Tennessee, how seamless is the transition then to go on to a 4-year university once you get your associate's degree at one of our community colleges?
Absolutely. And again, thanks to the foresight of the state of Tennessee, I guess it's been at least 15 years ago now, they implemented what's called the Tennessee Transfer Pathway Program. There are 78 programs in our system that directly transfer to the university, meaning every single credit you take goes into the university system. Some programs don't transfer directly just because they don't have a receiving pathway at the university level. But your core courses are going to, many of the subjects that you take, it just may not be all of them. But to have 78 that are guaranteed transfer, again, is a very unique pathway across the nation. You don't see that happening very often. We have great relationships with our universities. Our faculty work with the university faculty. They have these discussions about how do we develop programs that we make sure will transfer and articulate into the university. We always want to make sure that there's career ladders, as we like to call them. Student can go to work, student can go on to university, depending on what meets their need the best at that time. And I think as we started off with my career pathway, it obviously was not a straight line on any one path. The great opportunity I had was to be able to continue my education along that pathway that gave me opportunities. We really like to tell our students, college education is usually not a one and done. You need to continue. You need to be able to continue to grow and take courses as they're appropriate for you, and they're going to help you all along your pathway.
Circling back to the workforce piece again, I was reading an article probably a week or two ago in a magazine that focuses on site selectors and how they look at all the states and the factors when they are trying to locate a company. And some of those criteria, they move up or down. A few years ago, broadband was up there, and then a lot of states, just like Tennessee, have put a lot of money in broadband, so we're in much better shape. But the number one on the list I read the other day was still quality of the workforce. And if we don't keep focusing on that, those states and those communities that focus on the workforce, those are the ones that's going to be successful.
Absolutely. The areas that are the most successful across the country are those that have figured out that education and employment are highly related. They're correlated in a way that just cannot be surpassed. Our mission is to always build those intentional pathways to help with employers, to help them understand that if they need it, we're going to build it for them. I like to tell people the Tennessee Board of Regents is sort of your speedboat. Universities are more of your big ships in the ocean, but we're the speedboats because we can turn on a dime. If a company comes to me and says, I need an employer to be able to do these things, then we're going to figure out how we can produce curriculum to help them train individuals in that area. And you talk about site selection, again, this is why they bring us in the beginning. We're often sitting at the table when a company doesn't even have a name yet, and we're just calling them one of their code names before we even know who they are. We're telling them what we can do and what we will help them do when they come to the state, and how we're going to remain their partner throughout their time. We're not just going to train them to start up, because companies are always adding and losing employees. So we're going to be with them throughout their history of being in the state of Tennessee.
Chancellor, if you were delivering an address on the status of the Tennessee workforce, where do you think we are today, and looking out in the future, what's your view of the workforce in Tennessee?
I think that we have opportunities arise every day, and I think that we're continuing to meet those opportunities. I won't say that we're 100% at full with workforce, because we are always trying to get more people in. I have been hearing for years we don't have enough welders. I don't think I will ever in my lifetime hear people say we have enough welders, don't give me any more. I cannot seem to produce those fast enough. So there's always going to be that constant cycling. But Tennessee is, again, in my opinion, at the top of the list of states in the nation that are turning out close to 100% of what our companies need. And again, making sure that we're working with them to try and continue to cycle that. One of the really unique opportunities that we have right now that we're working with is our partnership that we have with Nissan. And I'm really excited about the direction that has taken over the last 2 years. Nissan is actually providing faculty members for us. They're paid employees of Nissan, but they're coming into our center and they're doing the training. And so Nissan now jokes that if you want to retire from Nissan, you have to become a faculty member first, and then they'll talk to you about retirement later. This is helping us so immensely, because we have not only the best trained faculty people in the world, they've been doing this job, for a very long time. And now they're working with our students, helping them do things exactly the way Nissan wants them to be done. To me, that, again, is a strength of the state of Tennessee, that we're allowed to form these partnerships, and we need more of them. We need business and industry to help us be faculty, to come in and actually help do some of that hands-on training.
And you mentioned welders, and, the truth of the matter is some of the best paying jobs, not only in Tennessee, but the country, are jobs that you learn at your TCATs or trade schools, and folks come out of there and make a great living. They don't have to have a 4-year degree.
Absolutely. One of my favorite stories is 2 students that we had at one of our colleges. The wife was in our nursing program. The husband was in our welding program. They both graduated and they didn't have children, so they decided he was offered a job working on one of the pipelines in the middle part of the country. They went. She was able to get PRN nursing jobs, making really good salary, because those people are hard to find. He had over a 6-figure salary. They bought a motorhome. They were living in their motorhome and saving up money for their home they were going to build when they got back to Tennessee. This is just an example of a couple that was very entrepreneurial, took their degrees, and are well positioned in life now because of the 2 degrees that they earned from our technical college.
I love stories like that. And we've got a couple of minutes left, and I love talking to people, and you've given your background, and I know people out there would like to hear maybe what your leadership philosophy is. I mean, you've been in leadership positions. When you own a small business, you're in a leadership position. You have to do everything. And then as you've gone up your career ladder, what's your leadership philosophy?
Well, I tell people I don't have a style or a philosophy. I'm eclectic and situational. I try to be what people need me to be when I walk into that situation. But probably the biggest thing is to have great respect for the people that you work with. And every day I am so blessed to thank the good Lord for the people that I am allowed to be around and work with. I have some of the best and the brightest people in this country that are working at our colleges, that are working at our system office. And we always like to say, I know you've heard this, we don't have problems, we have opportunities. So if we have something to occur, we don't have somebody sitting in a room by themselves trying to figure out how to solve it. We all get together and talk about, how are we going to overcome whatever this is that we're looking at today and work on a solution that's great for the state of Tennessee.
Well, I have great respect for our guest today, Chancellor Flora Tydings, who serves as the Chancellor of the Tennessee Board of Regents. And first of all, thank you for being with us today. And if some of our listeners want to find out more about TBR, where can they go to find and get more information about TBR and your programs?
Absolutely. Go to our website, tbr.edu. We have all the information you would ever want to know about our colleges public facing on our website. And one thing I do want to make sure that I mention right here at the end is that one thing people are maybe not aware of is beginning about 9 years ago, we started giving a warranty out on our graduates. For every technical college program we have, we give a warranty to our graduates, and if within 1 year an employer says, well, I really don't think they can do what you said you trained them to be able to do, well, we will take that student back and retrain them for free. Now, I'm really happy to report to you that we have issued over 120,000 of those warranties, and to date I've had 0 claims. I can say that because my faculty are training at the top of the top. So we've been really proud of that fact.
Well, that's amazing. I can tell you that some of my early employers wish that I had come with a warranty, and because it would have made life a lot easier for them. Thank you, Chancellor Tydings, for being with us. Best of luck, and we want to have you back on in the future. This has been an interesting conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking time to listen to me today.
Thanks for joining us on RuralStrong. If you found this helpful, share it and follow the show for more insights from rural leaders making a real difference. Until next time, stay rural strong.